Yeah, there's certain stories that I'll never forget and different kids that I meet because that's such an impact on my life. And people think that maybe my own stories about my own life are the greatest impact. But for me, the greatest impact are people that I've met who've been vulnerable and allowed me to walk with them in their story. I remember I was going on a bus tour and I was sick, and it was myself and the bus driver and one other staff member. So, you know, when we go to Dairy Queen or Wendy's, or we were going actually to Panera Bread that day, usually they're like, oh no, a bus is here, and they're all nervous because they're like, oh man, they probably have, 10, 20, 30, 40 people on the bus. Well, we get off and they're looking, we only have 3 people, the bus driver and the staff member, myself. We get in line and I get up to this girl and I say, you're amazing. And God has a plan for your life. And it's like I shot her with a water gun in her eye because she just starts bawling. Like, I'll never forget, she just starts crying. And I'm like, are you okay? She goes, look, you have no idea what you've just done. Like, I can't tell you now because there was a big line behind me. And she's like, I can't tell you right now, but you have no idea what just happened. So later on, she comes over to our table and she goes, I just want to thank you for you encouraging me today. I go, look, I do that all the time and anybody can do that. She goes, well, how do I get a hold of you? And at the time, our website, which it still is rememberyouramazing.com. And she goes, I go, that's how you can get a hold of me. And she's like, are you kidding me? I go, no, I'm serious. Because, people need to be remembered that they are amazing. I just did this yesterday and a girl was almost crying. She was so touched by it. I get an email the next day from this girl, and her name, I'll never forget her name. Her name was Rachel. And she writes, I just want you to know that when the bus came, I thought that you had a lot of people on the bus, so the whole staff was nervous. But then I realized you only had 3 people. When you came up into line, I was startled when you said, you're amazing, and that God has a plan for my life. Because that day before I clocked into work, I was contemplating killing myself. And I said, God, you have to send me a sign, she said, because I so desperately need it right now. She goes, that sign was you coming. And we stayed in touch with that girl for months. And her dream was to work in daycare, and she couldn't find a job in daycare. She actually got a job in daycare. And she's working in daycare to this day. And I love that story because anybody could do what I just did. It wasn't about me giving a talk, being hired to speak at a conference for 10,000 people or 100. It was just me being me. And whether you do it loud or quiet, or you do it simple or not so simple, anybody can encourage somebody. And I love that story because there's not one person on the planet that can't go up to somebody and look them in the eye and say, you're amazing. And there's a plan for your life, or God has a plan for your life. And that just impacts me so much also because it was in everyday life. My favorite thing to do in life is to just love somebody when no one's expected to be loved. And I think that's what we need, because people expect to hear it on a podcast. They expect to hear it when they come on my, on my channel or on the Instagram or on the YouTube or on the Twitter, but they don't expect it when you go out there and you're like in Panera Bread and all of a sudden you're just gonna love all over somebody. I mean, come on, just think of it. Honestly, if that's why everybody, should follow this channel, because if everybody did this world would be remarkable. So my hope is that, everybody will just get everybody to, get on the amazing train. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if we just loved people with everything we got and did our very best to do it? So I just love that story.